Hi, my name is Chris Huber, and this is my design exercise 1. I decided to build a color puzzle. So basically, how it works is that I have a joystick and potentiometer here, and between them, they control the 3 colors red, green, and blue of this LED. So red is controlled by the potentiometer here. So if I move the potentiometer and increase the red, the LED gets redder. And you can see that that's now red. And if I move it down, it gets dimmer. Now the 2 axes on the joystick also control colors. So the x-axis on the joystick controls green. So if I move left, green goes away. In the middle, there's some green, and on the right, there's a lot of green. Similarly, on the vertical axis, there's blue. So the middle is some blue, this way is no blue, and this way is all the blue. So I can turn green off and blue on by going all the way to the left and down. That would be pure blue right there. Okay, some other things I have on this board are an analog speaker output and the LED, of course. So basically, that's that, and then in the next part I'll explain how my game is actually played. Thanks. So the purpose of my design is a puzzle. So in my submission, I include instructions to the player in a text file, as you can see. So they read, "Welcome to the color puzzle." So your task will be to enter 3 colors in a sequence using the potentiometer dial and the joystick. To enter a color, you press down on the joystick button. So there's a button on the joystick, it's a digital input. Each time you depress the button, the RGB values that you have selected on the dials get sent to the serial and the Arduino. So then there's a riddle the player has to figure out. So the first color you have to enter in the sequence is the color that fire trucks are. The second color of the code is the color that iguanas are. And the third color of the code is the color of water. And I call it dihydrogen peroxide to confuse the player. So upon entering a correct sequence, the serial will flash a success. So the text success and a tone will play for 2 seconds. If you fail, the serial will say you fail, and you can start your attempt over. So now, and if you just any color, if you press down on the button, their RGB values get displayed on the serial. So even if doesn't matter what mix of colors you put in, you'll be able to see the RGB values that you're sending for your reference. Okay, so now I'll demonstrate the game in action. Hi, so now I'm going to demonstrate my puzzle. So if you haven't figured it out, the answer to the riddle is you have to enter red, then green, then blue. Spoiler alert. So I'm going to show you how to enter a correct sequence and what happens, and then a wrong sequence. So once the player figures it out, they'll enter red first. So I'm going to switch the red dial all the way on, and the green and the blue all the way off. And see now the LED is red. So I will enter the red in by pressing the button. And so now on the serial, it displays the RGB value you entered, and it says my current attempt is R. So that means I've entered 1 color and it's red, R for red. So I classify a color, red, green, and blue, as so red would be 255, 0, 0. Except I have a tolerance of about 20. So if a user enters doesn't quite get to that corner and enters like 235 for red, it'll still count as red. This way, you don't have to get right on the money. But you do have to get a pretty pure color, and you judge that by looking at the LED. So now I'm going to enter the second color in the code, green. So I'm going to turn the red dial off. I'm going to make sure, and then I'm going to use my eyes to look to see where green is the most defined, and that is at the top right. Now I'm going to press the button on the joystick to send my color to the serial. And now you see I've entered a value of 0,246,0. My code interprets that as green. It's pretty close to the 255 perfect value. And now my sequence is RG, red, green. So now I have one more color to enter. I'm going to enter blue. So my red dial is already off. And now I'm going to find where it's most blue. And that is in the bottom left of the joystick because it turns green off. I'm going to enter a color. So since I just entered the correct code, as you can see, RGB, I've cracked the code and my system responds by playing a tone out of the speaker, which you just heard, for 2 seconds. Now I want to show you quickly what happens if you fail. So after each 3 colors are entered, you restart. So now if I try and enter maybe green, 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 so I'm pressing the button 3 times. I've entered green, 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 and it says, failure, you've entered the wrong code. Restart your attempt now. So now I can try again. Green, green, blue maybe, and I've got it wrong. So every time you get it wrong, you get a chance to restart. Finally, if you enter a mixed color, so a color that's a little bit red and a little bit green, or a mixture of the 3 colors, so I'm just going to press it in the middle, my code returns the RGB values you entered. So these particular ones were 0, 183, and 188. It tells you you entered a cool color, and that mixed colors don't count towards your 3 color attempt, and it offers you to try another color. This way, if you want to see what the RGB value of a certain mixed color is, just because you're curious, you can still see it, and it doesn't count towards your attempt. So this will eventually encourage the player to only try pure colors, such as red and green and blue, to help them solve the puzzle. That's all I have. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.